Welcome everyone to Warcry Battle Reports, Episode 3. Let's continue learning the game and having fun. We're going to play Gloomspite Gitz versus Kruleboyz. Destruction factions are also happy to stab each other. Today is the debut of this Gloomspite warband. The Kruleboyz repeat from last episode. Go watch episode 2 for more Kruleboyz games. We continue with warband contained within one single faction, so we can use their respective battle traits. Let's start reviewing the Gloomspite warband. Mollog is the big tanky hero, a fighter you do not want to face one-on-one. On top of this, Mollog has a lot of tricks with 3 special abilities. The second hero of the warband is Zarbag, another hero with tricks, but this one has a good missile attack. This warband also includes Zarbag Squigs, which are a stronger version of the regular Squig. Another couple of favorites from Zarbag Gitz are Snirk and Prog. Snirk is a good hitter, also a much stronger version than the regular Fanatic. Prog is a version of the regular Netter, but with 4 extra wounds. The warband is finalized with a Shoota and the Squig Herder, both fighters that uses the Zarbag Gitz miniatures, but that have been downgraded to meet the 1000 point limit. On the Kruleboyz side, we have the Killaboss and the Gutrippa Boss as the heroes. The bulk of the warband consists of Gutrippas with Wicked Stikka. The Stab Rod goes with the Killaboss for synergy. For this battle, we're using the TheSaltySea Battlepack with a mission chosen at random. The mission, Enfeebling Wave, creates an area debuff that moves around the battlefield. The way to win victory points focuses on 2 aspects: taking down fighters and area control. The Gloomspite Gitz warband has several heavy hitters, but the Kruleboyz warband has 3 more fighters for area control. Any bets? We follow the mission's deployment map and distribute the warbands in the following groups. After a roll-off, the Kruleboyz player chooses the top right quarter to be afflicted. The Gloomspite player chooses the afflicted effect to move counterclockwise. Now let's start with Battle Round 1. The initiative roll gives a double and a triple to each player, and both save the wild dice. To break the tie, players roll off, and the Gloomspite Gitz take the initiative. The Gloomspite player activates the battle trait that Bad Moon Rises and changes the value of the double. The first activation goes to the Gloomspite Shoota that moves and shoots the Killaboss with amazing result. We promise that the Killaboss is visible through the window. The Kruleboyz player moves the Killaboss. Mollog follows with a double move and throwing a toad to the Killaboss face. Activating the Herd Jabber Toad ability. The Kruleboyz are not able to attack this battle round. Instead, they position all fighters in preparation for the next turn. The You Hold Them Off ability allows the Stab Rod to move 1 additional time, finishing the turn at attacking distance to Mollog. The turn felt very good for the Gloomspite Gitz player, but no fighters were taken down for now. The Gloomspite Gitz is covering the afflicted area with the most amount of fighters, so they win 2 points. Let's go to Battle Round 2. The remaining fighters are deployed in Battle Round 2, and the afflicted area moves. The initiative roll gives 1 double to both players. The Gloomspite player decides to use a wild dice to obtain a second double. The Gloomspite player activates the battle trait that Bad Moon Rises again and changes the value of the double of their opponent. This is completely useless given the Kruleboyz abilities, but it serves to lower the morale of the opponents. The Kruleboyz start activating the Killaboss and using You Hold Them Off ability. The Step Rod has a bonus attack. And then it's time for the Killaboss to attack Mollog. Not bad for the first activation. The Gloomspite Gitz player is eager to have reinforcement and activates a Squig to attack the Killaboss. At the top right of the battlefield, the Gloomspite player has forgotten the little Shoota. The Gutrippa Boss activates, moves and takes down the Shoota with a single attack. On the bottom right, Zarbag moves and shoots the closest Gutrippa, but fails. While the Kruleboyz player is busy moving fighter to the action, the Gloomspite player moves the second Squig and activates the backstabbing mob ability to add a bit more punch to the next attack, with 1 additional dice and +1 strength. Despite the efforts, the result of the dice does not help. Can it be because the Squig is distracted with a bone in his mouth? After that, the Kruleboyz player activates the Stab Rod and attacks twice at Mollog, who is starting to feel it a little bit. The Toad is thrown again at the start of Mollog's activation for 1 single damage point to the Killaboss.
Yeah.
And then Mollog attacks twice. Not very lucky though, but managed to deal 5 points of damage to the Killaboss with the second attack. On the other side of the battlefield, the Gutrippa gets closer and attacks Zarbag. And with that, we finished Battle Round 2. Most fighters arriving in this battle round were far from the action, so the turn was mostly about double movements for the newcomers, with a couple of exceptions. The Kruleboyz take all the points for the round by controlling the afflicted area and by taking down a fighter. 3 victory points goes to the Kruleboyz player that take the lead. Okay, now we move to the Battle Round 3. The Affliction moves to the bottom left, the quarter with most of the fighters. Haha, this is going to be interesting. Battle Round 3 initiative roll gives a triple to the Gloomspite player and 2 doubles to the Kruleboyz player. The Gloomspite Gitz player with the initiative decides to use 2 wild dice to make a chord and a double. The Kruleboyz player uses a wild dice to make a 555, with the prospect of using universal abilities. The first activation goes to Mollog. Mollog attacks the Killaboss and takes it down right away with 15 points of damage. The second attack goes to the Step Rod, but the attack fails. The Step Rod must have a Gorg and Morg in the side. The Step Rod activates afterwards and attacks Mollog twice, trying to avenge the Killaboss. Unfortunately, both attacks fail. The quarter is afflicted, lowering Mollog's toughness, but this is not enough to compensate for the Step Rod's strength value of 2. Next, a Squig moves and attacks the Step Rod. The action continues in the same place with Gutrippa's activation and use of venom-encrusted weapons. Both Gutrippa's attack goes to Mollog. With that, only a couple of damage points get through Mollog's thick skin. The second Squig moves and attacks the Step Rod. Finally, the Step Rod is down. To avenge the little one, another Gutrippa gets closer and attacks the Squig. To use the triple, the Gloomspite Gitz activates Go That Way with the Herder, allowing the Squig to get within 1 inch of the Gutrippa that are harassing Mollog from behind. After, the Herder moves and attacks the closest Gutrippa, dealing 2 points of damage. One of the last actions in the area is another Gutrippa, failing twice to allocate any damage point to Mollog. On the bottom right of the battlefield, the Netter attacks twice to the Gutrippa, allocating 3 damage points. This is followed by Zarbag's activation. Zarbag's Messiah attack is not available anymore, so he needs to get closer and personal and attack with a melee profile for another 3 damage points. The Gutrippa retaliates and attacks the Netter for 4 damage points with 2 attacks. The battle trait of the Kruleboyz allocates 3 extra points to the Netter. In Battle Round 3, the action gravitates towards Mollog and the Afflicted Quarter. The debuff on Toughness was not very useful to the Kruleboyz due to their low strength. For this battle round, we have seen a couple of fighters taken down on the Kruleboyz side, giving victory point to the Gloomspite Gitz, but the 2 points of average control go again to the Kruleboyz. Will the Gloomspite Gitz be able to turn this around in the last round? Let's go to the last battle round! In the last battle round of the game, the Affliction moved to the lower right side of the battlefield. Here, the Gloomspite Gitz has more fighters. The dice roll gives the initiative to the Kruleboyz that decide to form a second double with a wild dice. The Gloomspite Gitz, unable to steal the initiative, forms a double with a wild dice. The Gloomspite Gitz activate the battle tree The Bad Moon Rises yet again and rolls a 6, changing the value of their double. The first activation goes to the Gutrippa in the Afflicted Quarter. Venom-encrusted weapons is used to deal the most damage possible. The first attack goes to Prog Da Netter, dealing 2 extra points of damage. Prog has 1 wound left to give. The second attack goes to the Zarbag, dealing 4 points of damage. Did the Gutrippa forget to take down Prog Da Netter? Of course not. The Stick and Good and Quick battle trait is used to deal 1 last point of damage to the Netter and take it down. Back to the thick of it, Mollog activates and allocates 10 points of damage to a Gutrippa, but is unable to take it down with the second attack. The Gutrippa closest to the Squig Herder activates and uses venom-encrusted weapon, and attacks twice and kills the Squig Herder. With just 6 wounds, the Herder was an easy target. The closest Squig wants vengeance and takes down a Gutrippa with the first attack. The second attack, of course, goes to the next Gutrippa, allocating 4 damage points. After the Gutrippa moves towards the Afflicted Zone, the second Squig moves and deals an incredible 14 points of damage attack. More moves from the Gutrippas, and Zarbag makes an interesting choice. Ignore his direct attacker with the disengage action and shoot a Gutrippa further away. Why is that? Well, the next Gloomspite Gitz action is for Snirk, who has multiple Gutrippa in range. With a favorable strength and toughness relation, the first attack from Snirk takes down a Gutrippa at 4 strength. The second attack is much less impressive, but is exactly enough to take down the Gutrippa that was previously attacked by Zarbag. Good teamwork. Despite the great moves by Zarbag and Snirk, the Kruleboyz player has spread the fighters properly, leaving just 2 Gutrippas behind and moving the rest to the Afflicted Zone. Many Gutrippas have been taken down this turn. After the dust settles, the Kruleboyz player has 1 more fighter in the Afflicted Zone than the Gloomspite player. The Gloomspite player scores 2 victory points for taking down Gutrippas, while the Kruleboyz scored 2 points for every control and 1 for killing Prog Da Netter. At the end, the win goes to the Kruleboyz. It was an intense match, with both players trying to balance every control and kills as best as they could. Mollog's ability didn't shine today. The Spite Room and the Stellar Squig will need to wait for another opportunity. The amount of units on the Kruleboyz side were crucial for the mission. Numbers are not always important, but so far, the Kruleboyz warband is undefeated in this channel. Maybe next time, they will have a more worthy and brutal opponent. Thank you for watching and join us. We want to hear you, so please comment, like, and subscribe. Could we have done something different in this game? What tactics would you have employed? Well, see you next time!